රිවයින් කරන්න පුළුවන් නිසා මුකුත් මගේ වෙන්නේ.
BOTV TV බලන හොඳම විදිහ.
Making headlines on First at 9. Pushing for elections. Political party representatives meet the officials of the Election Commission and urges to hold provincial council elections soon. Rising crime wave. An accomplice to an underworld leader killed during a shootout with the police special task force. Mission accomplished. Minister Lakshman Kiryala says that the government has been able to establish democracy and transparency in the country.
We have restored democracy in Sri Lanka. Today there are no violations of human rights in Sri Lanka, disappearances, no burning of media institutions.
Bring him back. Sri Lanka Potujana Perumuna challenges Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe to bring the former central bank governor back to the country.
We now challenge the Prime Minister to do his utmost to ensure the presence of Arjuna Mahendran in this country to facilitate the ongoing investigation.
War of words. US President Donald Trump reacted to his spokeswoman Sarah Sanders being asked to leave a restaurant. A very good evening and welcome to First at 9. I'm Katharina Chang. Now on to your top story tonight. Rohana alias Tilak, who is considered to be an assistant of underworld leader Makandure Madush, was shot dead during a shootout with the police special task force in the area of Vilpita in Kamburupitiya. In the meantime, a search operation was conducted in the Vilpita reserve today to track down two other underworld figures in hiding.
The police special task force had been informed of an armed group which was roaming around in the area of Kamburupitiya. Accordingly, they set up roadblocks and launched a search operation around 7:45 last night along the Kamburupitiya-Akurasa road. During the operation, a three-wheeler had continued on its way without heeding STF orders to stop. At this point, the STF had given chase in a vehicle, and once they reached a forest area, the suspects in the three-wheeler had opened fire at the STF, triggering a shootout. Police later found a person lying next to the three-wheeler with injuries sustained during the shootout. Police, however, said the suspect, who was later identified as Manel Rohana, alias Tilak, had already succumbed when he was admitted to the Kamburupitiya hospital. Police media spokesperson SP Ruwan Gunasekara said that the deceased was a staunch henchman of the underworld figure Makandure Madush. A T-56 firearm was discovered from the scene of the shootout, and the STF conducted search operations in the Vilpita reserve today to track down two other suspects who fled the scene. Meanwhile, the magisterial inquest at the scene of the shootout was conducted by Acting Magistrate of Mathura Upali Ranasinghe. In the meantime, Inspector General of Police Pooja Jayasundara called on the police sergeant who sustained injuries during the shootout which took place between a gang of robbers and police in Mathura last week when the gang attempted to rob a jewellers. The IGP also called on civilians who sustained injuries during the shooting. He then visited the family of the police constable Suranga Pradeep Veerasinghe, who lost his life during the incident, and made a cash donation. Later, the IGP also felicitated those who helped in hospitalizing police officers who sustained injuries during the shootout in Mathura.
Representatives of political parties urged the chairman of the Election Commission to hold the provincial council election without further delay. Party representatives met chairman of the Election Commission, Mahinda Deshapriya, this morning to discuss the provincial council election as well as several other matters.
The Election Commission especially wants to finalise the electoral registry. The Commission wanted us to assist in this process and also informed us of the procedure. As the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, we made a request to hold the Provincial Council election soon. All other parties present also agreed with the decision. We also discussed whether the election can be held according to the already passed new act with amendments or the previous system. However, the final decision over the matter has to be taken by Parliament. We fully support the decision to hold Provincial Council elections soon. A proposal was brought by General Secretaries of parties over the matter, and we unanimously decided that the election should be held without any delay. We are thankful to the Election Commission for its efforts towards upholding the people's right to hold elections. Former President Jayawardena once halted elections, and the UNP continued to have a black mark. The only worrying factor is that the SLFP is about to contribute to do the same.
President Maithripala Sirisena today made a financial donation of 1.5 million rupees to the schoolgirl who won a gold medal at the Asian Junior Athletics Championships held in Gifu of Japan recently. Parami Vasanti Maristella is a grade 11 student of the Kuliapete Central College, and she has won a number of local and international sporting events before. President Sirisena commended her talents and encouraged her to do well in her studies. The financial donation was made this morning at the Presidential Secretariat, and the relevant event was attended by Minister of Sports Faiz Mustafa and the child's parents. The President also pledged his support towards improving the quality of life of Parami's family. Former President Neda Rajapakse is saddened by the fact the members of the clergy are insulted by some, misinterpreting recent remarks by the Annayaka Thera of the Askiri chapter. He expressed his views of the controversy which has shrouded the Thera's recent comments while addressing an event held in Kurunegala yesterday.
The foundation stone of the Samadhi Buddha statue in Sri Gangarama Temple in Akurana of Panduvasnura was laid with the patronage of former President Mahinda Rajapakse last evening. Today, Mahinda Rajapakse is our king. We are ready to undergo any punishment for stating that. Members of the clergy have sacrificed their lives in that fashion. We need to elect a king once more to make this country a religious nation. When the Thera called me king, I was scared. When the Annayaka Thera gave his remarks on working with an unwavering resolve, only 2 words were taken out of context and the Buddhist clergy was attacked. I'm saddened by it. It is called being of the nature of a scorpion.
Minister of Public Enterprise and Kandy City Development, Lakshman Kirayala, emphasises that despite criticisms from various political parties and media, the current government has been able to establish democracy and transparency in the country. The minister made the remarks at an event held in Kandy yesterday.
The Centre for Arbitration in Kandy joined hands with the Kandy branch of the Bar Association to conduct a special course in arbitration. It is the first time a course of such nature was organised outside of Colombo. Minister of Public Enterprise and Kandy City Development, Lakshman Kirayala, attended the event as the chief guest.
I do not claim that this government is perfect, but I must tell you, we have restored democracy in Sri Lanka. Today there are no violations of human rights in Sri Lanka, disappearances, abductions, no burning of media institutions. And now what has happened is, the freedom is so great that the people do not know how to use the freedom correctly. It takes some time because after so many years of strong rule, we have allowed the media to thrive. Every day we are criticized, but we do not take revenge. Unlike previous eras, in 2015, when there was a change of government, 8 resolutions against Sri Lanka had been passed in the United Nations. We have gone to the international community and we have told them our problems and they have accepted us and we are working with them to improve Sri Lanka's image. Today we are a respected member of the international community and we could go anywhere with pride because Sri Lanka is the model used by the United Nations to show other countries how a country could transform itself in a very short time.
Meanwhile, Minister Kirayala also touched on the latest developments of the Kandy Expressway project.
The first part has been given to the Chinese, the second part from Meerigama to Kurunegala is done by the local contractors, and the third part from Putuharu to Kalgadara is done by the Japanese. But the important thing is the second section from Mirigama to Kadawata is going on track. By August next year, that section will be complete. Without the first and third parts being half done, you should be able to come to Kandy in 2 hours if the middle section is complete. Once the first section and the third section is complete, you could come to Kandy in 1 hour. That's scheduled for 2020 August.
UPFA parliamentarian Anupriya Dashanayapa today expressed the willingness of the group of 16 SLFP parliamentarians who left the government recently to support any presidential candidate nominated by the joint opposition led by the Sri Lanka Potujana Peramuna. The parliamentarian expressed these views following the meeting of the group of 16 with the National Freedom Front.
The group of 16 parliamentarians who withdrew from the government recently met members of the National Freedom Front at their party headquarters this evening. We extensively discussed defeating the 20th Amendment to the Constitution. We also discussed as to what measures should be taken to make former President Mahinda Rajapakse the opposition leader in Parliament. Furthermore, we discussed toppling this government and the establishment of our own government. We are ready to welcome anyone who leaves the governing party. We are in the opposition and we should conform to a common agenda. For that, we joined the joint opposition, which has the largest number in the opposition. With the 16 of us, it will be 70. Our common aim could be making changes in Parliament or showing a public stance during the upcoming elections. We are ready for a broader front. As we said, since we are in opposition, we agree with the collective decision taken by the joint opposition. In the meantime, national organiser of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, Minister Duminda Disanayake, expressed his views on the group of 16 meeting members of the National Freedom Front. They first said that they won't meet those in lower positions, but now they've done it. We all worked together, and for the group of 16, President Maithripala is the leader of the SLFP. While they mention names of others, the other faction says they are not ready to join them. We can clearly see who has become helpless.
The joint opposition today challenged Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe to ensure the return of former Governor of the Central Bank Arjuna Mahendran to Sri Lanka. Addressing a media briefing of the joint opposition today, Chairman of the Sri Lanka Potujana Peramuna, Professor G.L. Peiris, highlighted that former Sri Lankan ambassador to Russia, Udayanga Weeratunga, has agreed to return to the country upon the request of former President Mahinda Rajapakse. He added that since the former president was able to convince Weeratunga to return, the Prime Minister too should be able to do the same with Mahendran.
It is so obvious right now that the consequences of the central bank fraud is ramifying in all directions like an octopus. The University Grants Commission has invested approximately 1 billion rupees in the Employees Provident Fund. And this, of course, is also enveloped in the scam. It seems that every university teacher, professors, lecturers and others will have to bear a loss of between 700 and 800,000 rupees. It is also obvious that the entire truth cannot be ascertained in the absence of Mr. Arjuna Mahendran, who continues to be abroad. And Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe insists that he is totally unaware of the whereabouts of Arjuna Mahendran. It is in this situation that former President, His Excellency Mahinda Rajapakse, has strongly advised the former ambassador Udayanga Weeratunga to come back to this country to face the charges against him. Udayanga Weeratunga will comply with that request and he will be back in this country in the near future. We now challenge the Prime Minister to do his utmost to ensure the presence of Arjuna Mahendran in this country to facilitate the ongoing investigation. He has not complied with this so far because it is in his interest to keep Arjuna Mahendran abroad for as long as possible.
The religious program Derana Abhibandana will be held at the Ruwan Valley Sahaya in Anuradhapura in view of the Posun Full Moon Poya Day tomorrow. In preparation for the event, humanitarian initiative Derana distributed waste disposal bags for the use of devotees who will take part in the one-day program.
Derana Bivandana, an initiative by Manusat Derana, took measures to promote environmental protection under the slogan Lassana Deranak Wenuen, or Towards a Beautiful Earth. Devotees were given waste disposal bags to be used tomorrow in order to promote cleanliness of the environment. This initiative was carried out at 4 entry points of the sacred city of Anuradhapura. Derana Bivandana Poson religious program will commence at 5 a.m. tomorrow. In line with the program, Maha Karuna Society in Singapore and Malaysia donated scholarships to 1,000 children who are in financial need in the North Central province. Scholarships were given to 2 children under the Derana Children Guardian Scholarship. The Anuradhapura Municipal Council, Civil Security Department, Central Environmental Authority and the Sri Lanka Police provided their assistance to this humanitarian initiative.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
Selinco Insurance PLC rang the opening bell to commence trading at the Colombo Stock Exchange today. The bell ringing ceremony was organised to mark the re-entering of Selinco Insurance PLC into the S&P Lanka 20 index as part of the June 2018 mid-year rebalance of the index. CSC has been organising the ceremony featuring companies included on the S&P Sri Lanka 20 index. Chairman of the CSC, Ray Abewardena, commended the achievements of the Selinco Insurance PLC, saying that the company set an example as a success story. Sri Lankan shares fell for a third straight session today and posted their lowest close in nearly 15 months. The all-share price index ended 0.52% weaker at 6,188.05, its lowest close since 4th April 2017. Today, the market turnover was 541.2 million rupees. With that, we now have Imesh Fernando from the Colombo Stock Exchange for a detailed report.
Top 5 gainers of the day were Adam Investments, Mercantile Shipping, Alufab, Dolphin Hotels and Udaipur Lava Plantations, while the top 5 losers were SNB Leasing, Non-Voting, Kelsey Developments, Guardian Capital, Serendip Hotels and Amanata Kafur. Today's foreign purchases were 313.14 million rupees and foreign sales were 339.52 million rupees. There were 7 crossings today and the crossing turnover was 302.09 million rupees. The Sri Lankan rupee ended firmer today as exported dollars selling and inward remittances surpassed demand for the greenback from importers. The rupee ended at 158 rupees and 10 to 40 cents per dollar, compared with yesterday's close of 158 rupees and 70 to 90 cents per dollar. With that, let's now take a look at how the Sri Lankan rupee traded against other major currencies around the world. Back to one of our local news, Dakshita Bogolagama was appointed Chairman of the National Enterprise Development Authority today. Speaking to First at 9, the newly appointed chairman said that under his tenure, the authority will focus on placing Sri Lanka in the international trading map in line with the International Enterprise Development of Singapore.
Dakshita Bogolagama was appointed as the chairman of the National Enterprise Development Authority by Minister of Industry and Commerce Rishad Badiuddin. Bogolagama has wide experience in banking and finance sector in Sri Lanka as well as overseas and has been a member of Board of Directors of Neda since September of 2017.
Neda has the power to create special economic zones in order to provide entrepreneurs with the incubation platform in order to grow. We want to position Sri Lanka in the international trading map, going with the International Enterprise Development of Singapore. The SME sector in Sri Lanka has played a key role in the development of the country, as has Singapore's economy. A conducive climate has to be created for entrepreneurship. One of the objectives of Neda is to support them and support local entrepreneurs to set their enterprises overseas.
Let's now take a look at some other stories making news across Sri Lanka.
Postal trade unions have decided to temporarily call off their ongoing strike action after 16 days, following talks with Minister of Ports, Postal Services and Muslim Affairs Abdul Halim and other officials this evening. Accordingly, they will end the strike at midnight tonight. Colombo Chief Magistrate Ranga Dasanayake today rejected the bail application filed by President Maithripala Sirisena's former Chief of Staff, IHK Mahanama, and State Timber Corporation's former Chairman, P. Disanayake, who were in remand custody on charges of accepting a 20 million rupee bribe. The magistrate ordered that the suspects should be kept in remand prison until the 10th of July as the case involves a huge amount of money. The annual prize giving of Wesley College in Colombo was held recently. An old boy of the college and popular media personality Kumar De Silva participated as the chief guest at the event, chaired by school principal Avanka Fernando. The Students' Council of the Open University of Sri Lanka organised a walk today, making several demands, including protection to the Open University concept. The walk commenced at the Open University premises and ended in front of the University Grants Commission.
You are watching Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Derana 24/7.
US President Donald Trump has reacted to his spokeswoman Sarah Sanders being asked to leave a restaurant over her involvement with his administration. He also warned Democratic lawmaker Maxine Waters, telling her, "Be careful for what you wish for her encouragement to harass officials of the Trump administration." Trump officials were harassed in the past few days.
US President Donald Trump stepped up his war of words with Democrats after his spokeswoman was kicked out of a restaurant by its anti-Trump owner. Democratic lawmaker Maxine Waters encouraged supporters to publicly harass Trump administration officials during a rally. Yesterday, Trump moved to warn Waters in a tweet. After belittling her intelligence came the warning, "Be careful what you wish for, Max." Congresswoman Waters has since accused Trump of lying, affirming that she believes in peaceful protests and that she did not call for the harm of anybody. White House spokesperson Sarah Sanders, meanwhile, opened yesterday's briefing with the topic of she being asked to leave a restaurant over involvement with the Trump administration.
Many by now have heard that I was asked to leave a restaurant this weekend where I attempted to have dinner with my family. My husband and I politely left and went home. I was asked to leave because I work for President Trump. We are allowed to disagree, but we should be able to do so freely and without fear of harm. And this goes for all people regardless of politics.
In true Trump fashion, the US president took to Twitter and attacked the treatment of his spokesperson, criticizing the cosmetic appearance of the restaurant, from which Sarah Sanders was expelled. In the meantime, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer also criticized the remarks of Congresswoman Waters.
Republic of Korea and the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, better known as South Korea and North Korea, began talks today to discuss ways to connect and modernize inter-Korean railways. Delegation from the two started the talks at Peace House, a South Korean building in the border village of Panmunjom.
The two Koreas, which have been at odds up until recently, are looking at ways to connect the two countries by modernizing inter-Korean railways. Delegations from the north and south kicked off talks geared towards this objective at a building known as the Peace House in the South Korean border village of Panmunjom. It aimed to discuss the connection of railways along the eastern and western corridors across the two Koreas and the modernization of the North Korea's railways. The South Korean chief delegate told reporters before heading for the dialogue venue, despite international sanctions against the North over its nuclear and missile programs, the two sides can discuss preparations for the railway connection which can be made after the sanctions are lifted. Many South Korean passengers are hopeful they might one day ride further.
A very good evening and welcome to Forecast First. It's likely to be a scorching day for the northern, eastern and southeastern parts of the island tomorrow, with temperatures expected to easily breach 30 degrees Celsius. Peak temperatures can be expected around midday. There, however, won't be a quick reprieve, with even the evenings said to be on the warm side. In contrast, the rest of the country can expect something milder, with temperatures in Colombo set to max out at around 28 degrees. That mild temperature is actually down to the showers expected in the western and southwestern parts of the island. Light rains will prevail from morning through to the early evening, but will gradually dissipate. That's it from your weather center tonight. Up next is your city by city forecast.
As usual, we'd like to leave you with some visuals of Beerwell Lighthouse, also known as Barbarian Lighthouse. This lighthouse is located in the Barbarian Island, which is 800 meters away from the shore. We hope you enjoy these visuals and have a pleasant evening.
Bringing you the news and information 24 hours a day. This is Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.